Good night. Welcome to Unitarian Coastal Fellowship. This is a place where many paths meet, where we honor the rich tapestry of spiritual traditions, and where all are welcome to responsibly explore their own connection to the sacred. What binds us here are not the same beliefs, but the covenants or promises we make to walk with one another, to care for one another, and seek justice together in love. I am Mix Jason Pesh, and I use they, them pronouns, joined with my wife, Wendy Pesh, as worship associate today. Thank you to our accompanist, Megan Smith, Maria Lundgren, who will lead us in song today, Harriet Altman and Martha Kenworthy making magic in AV and connecting us to our folks on Zoom today. If you're visiting us for the first or second time, we'd love to welcome you in. If you feel comfortable, you can raise your hand so we can say hello. And if you like, we can bring you the microphone so our friends on Zoom can hear. I don't think we have any. We do? Oh, here. And, if you're comfortable with introducing yourself on a mic, that's cool. But, anyone who wants to stay incognito, that's fine because we are introvert friendly.
Good morning. Jay Turbo is my name, and it's my second time 2 Sundays in a row. Very exciting.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Shanetta Brunges. My husband Todd and I were here probably about 6 months ago, and eventually we'll be coming down more often.
Awesome. Good to have you guys. Welcome in. And now let's hear who's joining us on Zoom.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. This is probably my fourth time.
Today on Zoom, we have Jennifer Edwards, Dan Phillips, Michelle Crepeau, Kay and Daryl, Elizabeth, and Gary Sterling Willis.
I'll wave hi to our Zoom peeps. Hello. And we have some announcements today. Mark your calendars for our upcoming Meatless Monday Potluck Supper on Monday, September 29th at 6 p.m. in the social hall. Right back there behind you. Bring a favorite vegetarian dish to share and enjoy an evening of great food, good company, and inspiration for plant-based meals. Everyone is welcome. Let's eat well and build community together. Sign up in the social hall or just show up. Another announcement, Coastal Cups, the Covenant of UU Pagans, will now meet the second day of each month at 7 p.m. These gatherings are a chance for us to come together in sacred community, to set intentions, to share what we've been manifesting, and support each other on our spiritual journeys. All are welcome, of course. And whether you're new to earth-centered practices or have been walking this path for years. And now we center ourselves here in the sacred space. Oh, sorry. One more announcement.
This is off script. So we have the Fall Fest coming up, but unfortunately we did not have enough volunteers to commit. So we're going to change the fest a little bit and eliminate a few things. We are still going to do yard sale treasures, homemade goodies, crafts. And we encourage you to come and sell your wares and volunteer in the spring when we're going to try this again. Okay. Oh, sorry. October 18th, 9 o'clock, but come early to set up. Okay.
Okay, now it is time to center ourselves here in the sacred space, and we'll do that through music. Since we will be doing a ritual here, I will state an acknowledgement to the spirits and lineages who call this land and water home. As we gather on these lands and near these waters, may we carry with us the spirit of our shared deeds, rooted in care, action, and ritual. We stand in relationship with the traditional homelands of the Lumbee and Nusiak peoples, who have long stewarded and sustained this place. May our commitment as a green sanctuary, mission to support those like the Eastern Woodland Protectors, in harmony with the cycles of land and water, reflect not only our values, but a growing responsibility to honor those who have cared for this territory since time immemorial. Walk gently, act justly, tend to this place as you would a sacred trust. And as we honor those who have tended this land and water, we now turn to the balance of the season and the light we kindle together.
And now let us speak these words as one. Come, let us worship together.
And now we will light our chalice. And today we are going to call the directions with our chalice lighting. And my son gets to play with fire. There we go. Okay. On this equinox, when light and dark hold brief balance, as the sun enters Libra's scales, we light our chalice to remember balance isn't a trophy we keep, it's a promise we renew. We honor the indigenous peoples of this coast, and we commit to belonging with them in truth and solidarity. From the east, winds of morning, open our voices for truth and listening. From the south, fire of courage, burn in us the will to tip the scales toward justice. From the west, flowing waters, wash us into belonging, healing what is broken. And from the north, body of earth, root us in memory, where ancestors rest and land is sacred. And from the center, the circle of care, bind us by covenant, deeds, not creeds, promises renewed. From above, wide sky, lift our gaze toward possibility and the stars within. From below, deep roots, steady us in mystery, that our love may endure. We light this chalice for justice, surrounded by love. For balance, we must make, not wait for. We also light our peace candle to remind ourselves that peace is a process that requires work. That peace is not merely the absence of conflict, but it's the presence of justice. And if everyone would please repeat with me, justice is our promise, and love is our way. All right.
Our responsive reading comes from Jason Pesh and is titled, When the Equinox Loses Balance, a Responsive Reading for Justice. So your part is in italics. When the equinox brings balance to earth and sky, yet here the heat lingers long past its season. When warming seas rise along the crystal coast and the land remembers what has been taken. When pottery, bone, and story are dismissed as dust, though they carry the heartbeat of ancestors. When protectors are silenced and sacred ground is treated as commodity. The Tuscarora and their kin still rise to honor what is holy, and for us, please rise in body and spirit for opening hymn 347, Gather the Spirit.
Gather the Spirit, harvest the power. Our separate fires will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery of this hour. Our trials in this light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind, seeds for the sowing are laid in store, nurtured in love and conscience refined, with body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun, winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again.
Each week, we make space to be fully human, to celebrate joys and to grieve sorrows together. This is a sacred moment in our worship where we witness and hold one another with compassion. In this time, we ask you to keep a spirit of silence so the ritual can be gentle and reverent for all. If you wish to share a personal joy or sorrow in words, you may write it on the paper provided in the basket over there. I will read those aloud after the ritual. Now you are invited to come forward using either the wall aisle or the aisle second from the door. From there, you may take a stone or shell. And also for the equinox, acorns also is an option. Thank you, Shelley. But you put it there and place it gently in the chalice of water as a symbol of what you carry. Think of it as releasing what is heavy or offering what is light, trusting the water to hold it and this community to hold you. And since it is the equinox, you might even choose one of each for balance. We welcome to our joys and sorrows, we welcome your joys and your sorrows in this ritual of stones and water. So, community concerns and joys. We hold in concern this year's hurricane season. NOAA reports warn that 2025 may bring stronger and more frequent storms to our coast. Even when the skies are calm, the worry weighs heavily. We hold close all who live with that anxiety, and we call for safety, resilience, and wisdom as we face the storms together. Also, concern, community concern. We hold in our hearts the students, staff, and families at UNC Wilmington who this week endured a campus lockdown after reports of an armed man. We give thanks that no lives were lost, and we grieve that schools and places of learning must live under the shadow of such fear. May our care surround those who carry the trauma of that day, and may our love guide us to build a world where education is never threatened by violence. And we close with a community joy. UCF is part of the NC Seafood Festival this year. So we'll be helping run one of the Pepsi booths, selling water, soda, and ice, and in the process, raising funds for our congregation. It's a chance to serve together, to laugh together, and celebrate being a part of this community on the Crystal Coast. And now we have a personal joy. Thank you, Marty. She has finished building the adult little library, which will be on display next week. It is so beautiful as well as functional. Thanks again. By the light of this chalice, we hold in our hearts all who struggle, those we name and those we do not. May we feel your compassion. By the heart of the heart and the light, by the light of this chalice, we open our hearts to joy, our joy in the joy of others, known and unknown to us. We join you in celebration. By the light of this chalice, we hold all that remains silent, the burdens too heavy to speak, the blessings too tender to name. May the care of this community offer you kindness and hope. May you know love, may you know peace, and may you be safe. And now it is time for all ages. Gather around, kids, because it's story time. Oh, now you hate stories. No. But it's going to be interactive. It's a demonstration by Miss Wendy here.
All right. Hi, guys. Hi. Okay, so what is this? Barbara? Yeah, it's an apple. Do you think it has a secret inside?
Maybe because it looks like it was cut open.
Oh, not yet, but we're going to. You don't, it does have a seed, but that's not the secret.
Half a worm.
Oh, ooh. It might have a worm. I hope not, because I don't want to see that.
Finding half a worm.
Oh, that's a good joke, Parker. I like that. So most people cut their apples like this. When you cut them for a snack, you go straight down, like right in the middle. You don't? How do you do it?
No, I take an automatic, a pre-molded slicer and press down on
Oh, yeah, from the top though, right? Yeah, so we're gonna try, and we're gonna cut it from the side. Can you hold this?
Can I hold it?
Thanks. All right. Bless you.
It could have.
It does have a seed, but what else do you see? A star. Looks like a star.
Five-sided.
Yeah.
Did you know apple seeds actually have cyanide in them?
Oh, let's not eat them then.
That's what
So, yes.
it's not funny.
Peoples are, yeah. Peoples are like apples too. Why do you think? You know, there's stars, there are. Because people have something bright and special inside of them as well, just like this apple has the star. But sometimes we don't see it right away until you cut into it or maybe get to know someone, and then you see how they shine inside and become part of your community. Okay? So inside the apple reminds us of the earth and how it gives us gifts, so we know how we can shine bright in fellowship with one another. Okay? That's your time for all ages. Oh. There you go. You can take it. Okay, go over there. All right, now we're gonna sing our kids out. Oh. What's it called? The blessing you were born, and it matters what you do. What you know about God is a piece of the truth. Let the beauty we love be what we do, and we don't have to do it alone. It's a blessing I was born, and it matters what I do. What I know about God is a piece of the truth. Let the beauty we love be what we do, and I don't have to do it alone. It's a blessing we were born, and it matters what we do. What we know about God is a piece of the truth. Let the beauty we love be what we do, and we don't have to do it alone.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to do a guided meditation. Find a comfortable position for this meditation. Feel free to close your eyes, soften your gaze, or whatever feels right. Let's begin with 3 breaths. In, out, in, out, in, and out. All right. Imagine yourself wearing a cloak of light, its hood almost covering your eyes. You walk through a forest glade bathed in hallowed sunlight, where golden dust drifts in the beams. How does your cloak show up in this world? What is it made of? What color is the light? This cloak is your persona, the face you carry outward. At the far end of the glade is a cave. Here lives your shadow. Not your evil, but the unspoken, the forgotten parts of yourself that you've hidden away. Enter the cave. Inside it is completely dark. Do not be afraid, though. Our cloaks will light the way. As you continue, let your light meet the shadows. It may feel heavy, but shadow gives light depth. You walk through the cave and find an exit. On the other side, you emerge at a quiet lake, wearing your enchanted cloak of enlightenment. Move toward the water and see your reflection. As you look deeper, notice your true self. Not the hood of the cloak masking your eyes, not the shadow living in the depths, but the whole of you, waiting to be transformed. Now lower the hood. Feel your inner self aligning with your outer self. Imagine stepping into community with all of your being, light and shadow. Imagine justice as the scales finding balance, because each of us shows up whole and true. in the waning light, may we release the masks that no longer serve us. May we walk with our shadow, not in fear, but in honesty. May our wholeness strengthen belonging, and may our belonging feed the work of justice. Now slowly open your eyes. Come back to this space, feel in the alignment of this time of balance. And now we will hear a reflection from Maria Lundgren on what the equinox means to her.
I, for one, feel reborn in the fall. At the fulcrum, when light is about to tip over into darkness. My introvert self delights in the enclosure of the twilight, in the coziness of light that can be contained. Sunshine is too bright for me, blaring and blazing away, revealing too much and granting too little respite. But this season of gentle fires, jack-o'-lanterns, candlelight, and fairy lights lightens and enlightens my soul. Mabon is a chance to reflect on the year's harvest, to tell stories around the fire about the year that is waning. At this hinge of the year, we anticipate Halloween, also known as Samhain, and the Day of the Dead, honoring the many beings of the spirit world, including our own ancestors. It is also the time of Persephone. The basic myth of Persephone, of which there are multiple versions, goes like this. She was the daughter of Zeus and Demeter. Her other name is Kori, meaning young woman. Wandering apart from her mother one day, she is abducted by Hades, god of the underworld, and forced to become his wife. Demeter, her mother, is filled with such grief that she cannot fulfill her usual role as fertility goddess. The crops wither, the trees lose their leaves, and the earth grows barren. Eventually, Demeter discovers her daughter's whereabouts and begs Zeus to rescue her. At last, the mother and daughter are reunited in the middle world, and spring arrives again with its new life. However, it is discovered that while in the underworld, Persephone ate a pomegranate. Because of this, she is required to spend half the year in the underworld. So spring and summer are said to be when Persephone and Demeter are together, while fall and winter are the period when Persephone is queen of the underworld. What on earth, or under the earth, does that myth have to do with us? A whole lot, I think. Like us, Persephone is taken where she does not want to go. Like us, she suffers trauma. Like us, she tries to survive as best she can, in her case by eating the pomegranates. It's interesting that in this tale from the patriarchal Greek culture, she is even punished for sustaining herself in the only way she could. Sound familiar? Sounds like blaming the victim to me. Persephone, however, refused to remain a victim. She became queen of the underworld. How did she do this? Not merely by marrying Hades. No. She became the one who guided others through the underworld. I am reminded of Harriet Tubman, guiding slaves along the Underground Railroad to freedom. We may feel in the encircling darkness that begins at Mabon that we are engulfed in times we would not wish on our worst enemy, in times we did not choose. To some extent, we may feel that we are hostages to fate. But like Persephone, we can refuse to be victims. How do we do that? The same way she did. By reaching out loving hands to guide others through the darkness. And in doing so, discovering both our sovereignty and our community. Blessed Mabon to you.
As we turn on our spaceship Earth, moving in line with the sun into Libra, the scales of justice, we enter a cosmic moment of equal day and night. Yet, does this balance last long? No, it's fleeting. It's a moment in time. Nature teaches us that balance is not a thing we hold once and for all. It's a promise we must renew. It's the same thing with justice. When greed and oppression break the balance, our call is to tip the scales back toward equity, toward belonging, toward love. Here on the Crystal Coast, I'm sure most of you have noticed that it stays a little hotter longer than a lot of places. At least I feel like that. And listen, I grew up in South Texas, about 3 hours from the border. And I'm still not used to this lingering heat. Like, what is up with that? And the humidity here, it's like worse than Houston, y'all. Like, and that's saying something. But on a serious note, we do have a problem here, though. Scientists at NOAA and in North Carolina project roughly 10 to 14 inches of sea level rise along much of the North Carolina coast by 2050. And that's compared to the year 2000. So that's about a foot of water. That's not something we can ignore. Burning coal, oil, and gas adds greenhouse gases to the atmosphere, warming the planet, expanding the oceans, and melting ice. And closer to home, when we pave over wetlands, when we build hard seawalls, when we remove the very buffers that used to protect us. And that rise means more flooding during high tides, storms, and so-called king tides, stronger erosion, the loss of low-lying land. Local communities are working on solutions, though, trying to restore the wetlands, encouraging living shorelines instead of concrete walls, improving stormwater systems, updating building codes so future development is safer. But whether those efforts succeed depends on planning, funding, and urgency. And speaking of living shorelines, let's talk about the Cedar Point archaeological site, where land is sacred to some and a potential fortune to others. On one side, you have indigenous descendants calling for the protection of ancestors and sacred burial sites. On the other, developers and investors see luxury builds and Airbnbs for wealthy tourists. Now, if you put the power of local indigenous communities on one side of the scales and the power of a handful of rich developers on the other, what do you think? What side do you think is going to tip heavier? That balance is broken. Justice requires us to notice imbalance and act to restore it. Community members report construction disturbing ancestral graves. Can you just imagine like a construction crew coming in and then one of your relatives at the cemetery just plowing over it? How would that make you feel? That would make me feel bad. A deputy was even recorded tackling a Native woman who came to honor her ancestors. Federal law, like NAGPRA, protects Native remains on federal and tribal lands and museums. Advocates here are pushing for stronger protections for the site, and they have actually successfully resisted attempts to weaken those protections because, of course, some people are trying to put laws in place, and then luckily people noticed it, and then they removed it from the bill. So they're trying to weaken the protections for the site. It's not cool, man. But imbalance isn't only out there, right? It's inside of us too. We're living through what experts call a loneliness epidemic. It's a health crisis with risks as serious as smoking or obesity. That's wild, right? Because people ache to belong. When I was a kid, maybe just me, I don't know, maybe I'm naive, but when I was a kid, I feel like people could disagree politically, still be friends, right? You might say I can't believe you think that way. Trickle-down economics sounds like they're just peeing money on us. But hey, but then there was always hey, you want to go catch that game or something, Or another example, I remember I can't believe he did that in the Oval Office. What is the world coming to? But hey, you want to go see Saving Private Ryan this Friday? I remember those crazy conversations, right? We could still agree. Disagree, but agree, be friends, go see a game, go see a movie. We need to get back to that. Now, our disconnection is harming not only our bodies and spirits, but the very body and spirit of our nation. People crave belonging, and too often they find it in these groups or online spaces that feed their algorithm on fear and hate. Empathy needs to be normalized. And that happens when we live in right relationship with each other, with the land, and with history. This month, our Share the Plate goes to Eastern Woodland Protectors, who are standing on the front lines at Cedar Point Archaeological Site, which contains indigenous burials and artifacts. Belonging means being able to safely tell the truth with one another, to be able to say it out loud. This land holds ancestors, and these graves matter. Belonging means solidarity. We are called to join those who protect land and water, to share our resources, and to amplify their voices. Our Social Justice Committee will remind us that the work doesn't stop there. We must also recalibrate the scales for racial justice, immigrant justice, and queer justice. To build belonging, we must make space where people were once excluded. Some of us come from ancestors who held privilege, while some of us come from ancestors whose heritage was stripped away. It's a hard truth. But once upon a time in this country, if you were not a white, land-owning male, chances are your language, religion, or culture was stolen. For those of us who hold privilege today, the call is clear, not to use it for comfort, but to tip the scales toward equity. I confess I had to apologize recently to the CUPS group I'm helping start because I left the word covenant out of our circle agreement. Now, I'm going to be honest, that word is a trigger for me. Religious trauma kicks my brain right into fight, flight, or freeze mode. But Reverend Leslie explained the UU history of covenant, and it gave me a new way to see it. In the 18th and 19th centuries, covenant became a way to express religious commitment without requiring a uniform belief. So instead of saying, we believe this creed, congregations said, we covenant to walk together, based on the deeds, not creeds. Some deeds are personal, some are communal, and some deeds ripple wide. Like UUs who stood at Standing Rock with indigenous protectors side by side. Like James Reeb, the UU minister murdered by white supremacists in Selma for marching for civil rights. Like UUs at General Assembly in 2012 condemning the doctrine of discovery, that 15th century papal decree that sanctioned colonization. Yeah, let that sink in. Yeah. Make matters worse, this doctrine of discovery was later embedded into US law in 1823. Our deeds are not one-time acts. They are like covenants, promises that must be renewed, retuned, and recalibrated. And so here we remain, feeling the balance of waning light and waxing dark, our joys, our concerns, our harvest, our hibernation, our personas and our shadows. The balance may not last forever, but we can keep tending the scales, recalibrating them toward justice. And justice is our promise, and love is our way.
Brandy Carlisle of the Highwomen says, "Crowded Table is a song about belonging, that even we don't all believe the same things, but we can still gather, share bread, and return to one another in love. That's what families and communities do." We offer this song, Crowded Table, as an invitation to belonging. Let your body respond to it as it will. Sit, sway, tap, or sing, however the Spirit calls you.
You can hold my hand when you need to let go. I can be a mountain when you're feeling valley low. I can be your street light shining on the way home. You can hold my hand when you need to let go. If you wanna go, we're gonna have to sow the seeds. Plant a little happiness, let the roots run deep. If it's love that you give, then it's love that we reap. If you wanna garden, we're gonna have to sow the seeds. And I want a house with a crowded table and a place by the fire for everyone.
Thanks, guys. And now, oh, this is you.
This is me. Yeah. Every month we share the plate with a community organization. This month we share the plate with Eastern Woodland Protectors, an indigenous grassroots movement who have been organizing around pipeline, land and water protection, most recently around the Cedar Point gravesite. You may have heard about possibly the largest archaeological site in North Carolina that includes a Native American burial ground up to 3,000 years old. A recent archaeological survey discovered the site has no less than 11 potential human burial clusters and containing multiple individuals as part of the Native American settlement spanning over multiple centuries from 1000 BCE to 1600 BCE. Developers who want to build luxury housing on this land see the indigenous community grave sites as just shells and broken pottery, which tends to continue to erase the history of indigenous people right here on the Crystal Coast. So we stand with the indigenous people of this land, and our values tell us to support their right to defend the land and history from being erased. Please give generously at this time when indigenous communities are standing up to the systems of harm. Please join us in this offering with hymn 402, From You I Receive. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
Please join me in reading our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now in Español. Extinguimos esta llama, pero no la luz de la verdad, el calor de comunidad, o el fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los elevaremos en el corazón hasta que estemos juntos otra vez. Okay, it is UCF tradition to join hands and form anything close to a circle. However, if you prefer not to, or if moving is not what you need right now, please remain in the center of the circle and we'll surround you with presence and love. Check, check. You'll have to. Can you make it? Hook mine, hook mine. Here. I got something here. Yeah. Squeeze in tight, squeeze. Pull the reins. No. All right. All right, let us rejoice, for we have gathered here in the time of equal light and darkness. The tides rise, the world trembles with tension, and greed too often tips the scales. Yet we do not face this alone. Our bonds are the waters of community. Our deeds are the fire of commitment. And we affirm all together now, justice is our promise, and love is our way. Blessed be, and may it be so.